I'm Vivian Perez. I'm a senior double major in music and Spanish, and I live in Naperville, Illinois. I actually started off thinking I would do music education with a chemistry minor. I ended up as a double major in music and Spanish. One thing I enjoy about lessons is the fact that it's the smallest classroom size you will ever get. It is one-on-one experience, and you are in there with your professor for 30 minutes to an hour, and in those 30 minutes, yes, you learn a lot about the music, you practice and you grow as a musician, but you also create a connection with your professor.
The one-on-one teaching means I have to see what's going on. I have to figure out how to motivate her to overcome, and it's a completely unique situation. That's what's so fascinating about it for me, is that what Vivian needs is going to be the same as what somebody else needs, but her way of getting there is not going to be the same. It's not going to look the same. And that's my job as a teacher, to figure that out. And it's absolutely unique to each student, and it's what makes my job the most fascinating job in the world.
With the Spanish department, the major requires you to study abroad. Being a part of Sevilla and getting to know the culture and the people was just out of your comfort zone and what you're used to knowing, and you throw assumptions out, you throw away everything that you know, and you accept the life that is there, that you are living every day, and you become a part of them. I would like to apply for grad schools with a focus in ethnomusicology. My focus will be in Mexico, so Latin America, and possibly Spain, the mix of the two cultures that make the music of Mexico. I want to teach at a university and teach new students about the music in America, because it's no longer what we normally hear, jazz and classical, opera. There is that new population coming in, and I feel that it is important that we learn about this new culture. It's not a new culture anymore, it is a part of us, but we need more people advocating and speaking on their behalf.
My name is Chandler. I'm a senior English major from Cary, Illinois. It kind of all goes together with the kind of people that are here, because it wasn't so much that this was necessarily the best football team in the country or anything like that. We have a very good team, but it was more the people in the program, the people in the education program, the people in the football program. That's really what drew me to this place.
He's also taking classes from my wife, who teaches in the education department, Katie Hansen. And so we would come home and talk about this guy who, is one of our students that we're noticing a little bit. And both of us agreed almost immediately, he's not only somebody who's going to turn into a good teacher and coach, but we could have imagined our kids taking a class from him in high school. You have that kind of confidence in him. And it happened early. Again, there were a lot of people in class who were like that, but it's certainly true of Eric.
An awesome thing about the education department is before you actually student teach, you're going to have a ton of time in the classroom beforehand. With Education 340, you have you're in clinicals for students with special needs, which is what I did last spring in East Moline. And then also before you student teach, you'll also have a clinical experience for secondary ed in junior high and high school. So you'll have been at least 3 terms in a classroom before you actually have to student teach. Going into my junior year, I had heard the year before they had gone on a trip, a Habitat for Humanity trip over spring break. And we have a pretty long spring break here, almost two and a half weeks or so. And me and a couple other football players really wanted to do something with our spring break. So we got involved in the fall and the winter, and we did, over in Davenport, we started working on a house every Saturday for a couple months to kind of train for our trip. And we ended up going to Taos, New Mexico for the Habitat for Humanity trip this past spring break. It kind of gave us a sense of perspective on things about how lucky we were. Advising is a lot to do with picking your classes, but it's also someone who's there for you if they need you. Someone who, from your sophomore year, junior year, senior year, sees you progress, and also it's not just a faculty-student relationship. It turns into something more. definitely. And you talk about each other's families, you talk about your extracurriculars, they go see games, and that's really what I've been able to build with Katie Hansen, David Crow, and then also other faculty members in both the education and English departments. And it is important.
My name is Hannah Bone. I am a senior anthropology and French major from Conifer, Colorado. I was impressed just by how much I changed as a student and as an individual. I came into Augustana thinking I was going to major in art education, and I quickly realized that I had interests elsewhere, and I started taking classes in areas I had never knew about before. So I took classes in sociology and social welfare, and I finally found anthropology, and I found something that I really love. I am involved in our Ultimate Frisbee team. I also play club soccer, and I am one of the editors-in-chief of Saga, our arts and literary magazine. What's really stuck out about Augie are all the study abroad opportunities. This past spring term, I studied abroad in Ireland, and then I stayed on for the summer to do research for my anthropology senior inquiry. I wouldn't have had that opportunity without the summer research fellowship. I submitted a proposal to a research committee, and they approved a grant so that I was able to stay in Ireland and conduct ethnographic fieldwork that I'll be able to use in my project for my senior inquiry. That was an amazing experience, being on my own. It was terrifying, but it was a lot of fun, and I realize now I have the confidence to do this type of field work, which is exactly what anthropology is all about. We have amazing professors on this campus. People who are just so interested in what they're doing and so excited, and they would love to talk to you about the really cool opportunities that departments offer. And these might be things that admissions might not tell you right away. These might be things that you really need to ask the professors about. Like the geology department has a ton of really cool field trips that they go do. As I'm graduating this year, I'm starting to look into what I'm going to do next year, and I was invited to apply for the Fulbright. What's really great about the opportunity is that you are given help from Dean Farrar, who is going to work with you really closely on your applications, and it's not a process that I have to go through on my own, so that's really nice. So hopefully I get the Fulbright and I end up teaching English in Thailand.
My name is Josh Eisenberg. I'm a senior majoring in biology and pre-medicine. I am from Spring Grove, Illinois. From the beginning, I always knew I wanted to be a pre-medicine major, so the strength of the science program here at Augustana, along with the small class sizes, I knew I'd get the individualized attention. The Texas Medical Center internship program I had actually heard about before I attended Augustana, and that was a major reason why I chose Augustana. It was an invaluable experience that I'll never forget. I worked at Baylor College of Medicine, where I conducted breast cancer research. Although working in a lab was a great experience, it provided me with an insight towards my future career goals that led me kind of away from the research aspects of medicine and more towards the clinical side. Throughout high school, I competed in football, wrestling, and track, but I really had the love for track. I was just a pole vaulter and a sprinter in high school, and now that I'm a decathlete, I had to pick up like 7 new events. When I had to study for the MCAT for medical school, instead of going to a last chance qualifier meet for nationals, I decided to stay back, study for the MCAT, and the coaches were all about that. The CEC, also known as the Community Engagement Center, I found it to be like the hidden gem of Augustana. There's great people there that will get you internships, jobs, or they'll just help with your resume. So last fall I utilized the CEC, and immediately they set me up with a long-term shadowing opportunity with a general practitioner over in Bettendorf. So for 4 hours a week for like 5 months, I was shadowing this doctor. So that was an unbelievable experience. When I'm a future physician, I can definitely see myself helping out younger students the same as I was helped out, because it's been an amazing opportunity. I couldn't have asked for more.
My name is Jamie Hockney. I'm a sophomore here at Augustana. I'm currently a double major in creative writing and business, hopefully with an emphasis in marketing. and I currently live in Medina, Minnesota. I came and I know I wanted to talk to, writing people and business people and choir people, and I did all that. And I took voice lessons in high school, so I was thinking, well, maybe I'll continue that in college, see where that goes. And so I ended up with an interview with Dr. Rayapati, and I met with her, and it was a spectacular experience and one that actually made me really decide that Augustana was where I was going to go.
In Jamie's case, she was a singer, and she happened to be from Minnesota, and I have some Minnesota connections, and so through the magic of all of the offices that work to match people up, I think that was a good first step in getting her into my office. Jamie just had this effervescence about her. She was curious about everything from the get-go, so it was really easy to get her to chat about her interests. But yet, spending the time to find out what they've been doing in high school that can either carry over or change and grow into other interests that can be mentored and explored here at Augustana, that's the crux of the interview.
That's part of the reason I chose Augustana as well, is because the two majors that I wanted to do are in such differing fields that if I went to a university, I'd be enrolled in two different colleges, which would make the double major a little difficult. So the fact that I can be here and to do a double major and my professors know each other from the different fields and are willing to help me talk to each other and get it all figured out is really nice. I'm a business major and a writing major, and I don't think I'm part of a club for either one. I mean, they're available to me, but that's something that I do during school hours. I mean, writing I do outside, of course. But I get to be part of a whole bunch of choirs. I was in 5 choirs last year and a part of the opera, and I get to have a great time doing it. I'm not sidelined because I'm different majors. When I came, it's so rushed that first weekend of freshman year, everything's going crazy. And that very first Wednesday night chapel, because my mom made me promise I would go to Wednesday night chapel because she loved it while she was here. They made me promise I would go, and I went in and I sat there and I finally felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. So now as a part of Campus Ministries, I get to be that. I get to show that to other people. Our theme this year is hospitality, and I'm so excited that I get to, say to other people, I understand what you're going through and how hectic it is and crazy it is, but here, let me give you a hug, let me hold your hand. Let me show you that it's gonna be okay and we're gonna make it through this and we're here to help you. And I love being able to do that.
You've just heard a few of the over 2,500 unique student stories here at Augustana College. And over the next few weeks and months, you'll work with Augustana's amazing faculty, your tour guide, and your admissions counselor as you start thinking about how to add your own chapter to the Augustana story.